Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. We are back with the What Can You Get from that pack series, and obviously, we're going to be talking about the vanilla carbon fiber. No, of course not. We're going to be talking about the In the Shadows carbon fiber. What you can get from this, if there's anything worth investing in, and if you should open it, if I'm going to open it, if it's just worth the gold. Okay, so you guys know how it works already. I'll give you my verdict at the end, but of course I'm going to show you every card that you can get. So, a little different this time, because usually when I review a pack, it's usually for a Tri-Series final, right? But there isn't a Tri-Series final. It's just, you know, your regular, I guess you can say regular now because we've had it so often, regular weekly legendary challenge. I say weekly because it spans for about a week, not that it happens every week. I wouldn't even say monthly because we technically had one already in January, that being the, what was the prize card? I think it was the Christmas challenge for the Nardo. So we had that already, but then Hutch decided to do it again for January, which is pretty interesting. I mean, technically you can say that the Christmas Collection Challenge came out in 2020, but it ended in 2021, if I remember, like the 4th of Jan or something like that. So it's actually coming back really quickly. It's like, imagine if these challenges come out every 2 weeks now, like a Tri-Series. That would be insane. You know, at the rate that they're going, like 4 prize cards a month, I feel like Hutch would actually run out of cards to give out. I've already shown you my collection in the past, so you don't really need to see that. As you can see, I'm fusing that AMC Javelin AMX. That's going to be maxed out, and that's going to be nice and beautiful. But let me tell you about all the cards and everything you can get from the pack. So, like I said, because this is like a weekly legendary challenge, you are going to need basically anything you get here, right? It's not like a Tri-Series where I only focus on the epics and the legendaries. When it comes to the weekly challenge, it goes with a variety. It's kind of like an owner's challenge if you ever had one before, where you need the rares and the super rares, the ultras, the epics. Basically anything you get, you know, max it out. It'll be a good asset for the challenge. But what I want to do is take this series on a slightly, it's almost the same direction, really. I'm going to be reviewing the pack, but I'm going to be telling you if these cards are actually worth investing in for the long run. So how useful these cards are going to be outside of the In the Shadows challenge, right? So when they take the In the Shadows tag away, and they will usually do that, and well, they will do that actually, how useful are they actually going to be? Right, because they're all kind of equally useful in this weekly challenge depending on the stage, but you know, when the challenge is gone, how useful these cards are going to be. So I'm going to start off with the super rares. We're going to move up to ultras, epics, and legendaries. So starting this off is the Fort Torino Talladega. Now, a lot of people have been asking me what the MRA is on this. It's actually not that bad for a super rare. It's not amazing, but for a 60s car, and when you have a top speed of 165, it has MRA of 68.2 as per Top Drives Club Online. Out of all the super rares that you can get from In the Shadows, the Ford Torino Talladega does have the best MRA at 68.02. Now, a lot of people have been asking me what is the MRA on the 430. The 430 isn't that great. It has a low 0 to 60. Yeah, I mean 0.3 difference from the Talladega, but it has an MRA of 58. So it's 10 different. Obviously, this has much higher top speed. This is the better car to go for. So any other things that would be useful in the future? I would say the Ford Torino is okay. It's not the best, but it's a decent RQ40. It's still going to lose to the Chevrolet El Camino, so definitely not really a car that you want to keep around. It's just okay. It's mediocre. The Talladega is mediocre. That's all I can say. 430 is kind of eh. The Abarth 10,000. Now this is a good car to have in your garage because it is incredibly light at 583 kgs. It handles, you know, it underperforms on the handling. You would think that this car has better handling than 76 for crying out loud, but it doesn't. But the 0 to 60 is quite low, and once again, it's incredibly light. So it's a great car for the slalom, not for the G-Force, unfortunately, but it might be okay on the twisty road, not on the twisty circuit, because twisty circuit does have some straights where it does need to require a little bit of MRA and top speed. So definitely slalom, maybe karting, indoor karting. So it's a decent car to have. It's very niche, but if I were you, if I got this car from the pack, I would keep it and max it out. I know a lot of people have at least one 323. Now, the next two to talk about is the AMC. The AMC is, well, it's disappointing. It has an MRA of 49.49, not even 50 MRA on the AMC. It's really quite sad. It does have very impressive 0 to 60. It has a lower 0 to 60 than the Torino Talladega, and it even has standard tires to boot. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the MRA to back up your 0 to 60, what are you even doing, bro? Honestly, not an amazing car. I wouldn't keep the AMC Javelin outside of the challenge. Next one is the Chrysler Airflight. Now, I do have this maxed out. I think it's somewhere in between. Well, actually, we can check, because if I just click my cars, and we can check, yeah, as you can see, it's 5883, and you can see that 1000 is 4684, and it weighs 543. Actually, wait, what? No. Does it? Oh, I guess it does. The original is 583. Okay, see, the numbers are super similar. So the Airflight 5883, the Torino 4572. This is at 996. Once again, the Airflight isn't that great, you know. Although it is medium ground clearance, that 0 to 60 is pretty weak. And you know, rear-wheel drive standard is a very niche category. Usually in the rain, you want to go for four-wheel drive standard. A car that I'm thinking of that would beat this basically everywhere in the rain would be the Dodge. No, what is it? What am I thinking of? The Dodge Caliber, all-wheel drive. It is one RQ more, but definitely is the better car, like in every sense. So no, I don't think the Airflight is better. And if you want just a rear-wheel drive standard tire car, or you know, a non-four-wheel drive standard tire car, I would go with the ELR any day. The Airflight, just not very impressive to me. So not a car that I would keep outside of the challenge. But I'm saying that for you, for advice for you guys, because it is a car that I would keep outside, because I am collecting every single American Frontier Super Rare. So let's go back into all cars, and let's continue with Ultra Rares. So Ultra Rares, let's see, there are 9 Ultra Rares you can get from the pack, and I didn't say earlier there are 5 Super Rares you can get, but yeah, there are 5 Super Rares you can get. There are 9 Ultra Rares you can get from this pack. All of them are actually kind of niche in their own right. Besides the Mozart WO edition, the Walter Owen edition, this one is, I guess you can say, is a niche as well, but it's a niche in a sense where it's just horrible in everything. This is trash. It's garbage. If you get this car from the pack, I am sorry, my condolences. This car is trash. But let's talk about the other ones. The Z28SS is also crap. I wouldn't do much about it. I didn't even write any notes about it. The next one is the Lamborghini Countach LP400. Now, the only thing that this car has going for it is that it has an MRA of 92. Right? It has an MRA of 92, and that was about it. At this point, it's not even going to be the best car for In the Shadows for the Test Bowl, because a Charger Daytona exists. This car is incredibly useless. It's like the middle child in a family. I'm sorry if you're a middle child. That's just a, you know, analysis, not analysis, but comparison. I don't know. I can't think of words right now. But Lamborghini Countach is just the car that's kind of useless, because when you compare it to all its brothers and sisters in the ultra Lamborghini category, this thing is useless. You have the purple Countach, the Thanos Countach, which is the best car for the Test Bowl. It'll beat this on the Test Bowl in the 1 mile, which is what this Countach is made for, Test Bowl in the 1 mile, and it's not even the best in that. It's not going to win the quarter mile or the half mile, because the Miura S and the Miura SV would smoke it on the shorter drags. So in the end, you kind of just have a Lamborghini that's just second best at everything and not the best at anything, and it's just incredibly sad. This is a just 100% fuse. It was 100% fused when it was the car that was needed for Silver Screen, and it's still 100% fused now. Next was a Charger Daytona. Now this is an MRA of 90. Now, like I said, it's just a better version of the Lamborghini. But once again, I would say it's a pretty decent car to keep for the long run, only for USA Test Bowl. Because when you think about it, the Charger 3 is going to beat the Charger Daytona on basically all of the straights besides the Test Bowl. And if we have like more RQ to play with, you might want to use the Aerovet. But I would say the Daytona still has its niches. It will beat the Aerovet on the Test Bowl in American events. So it has a little bit of niche to it. I have to be honest though, as much as I love this car, as much as I love the Dodge Charger Daytona, it's just not amazing. It's amazing in real life, but it's just not amazing in game. It has amazing MRA, high top speed. The 0 to 60 is, you know, that's the thing really. The 0 to 60 is just not that low. When you think about it, the Charger 3 is in the 4.2s, and the Miura SVs is in the 4.3s. So because of that, the MRA is good, but the 0 to 60 just, it's there, it's okay, but it's just not the best. It's a decent car to keep, but I wouldn't be telling you, oh, you must keep the Charger Daytona. Next up is the Maserati Tipo Birdcage, one of the only 2 cars in the game that has a Sub-Zero tag. It has an MRI of 82.88. Now this car is a bit of an all-arounder. I've had it in my fuse pile for so long because I just thought that I might need it one day, and lo and behold, I do. Maxed it out is 4085, and it has an MRI of 82.88. It's just an all-rounder car. You know, the top 60 is not so good, but not so top 60. The top speed is not so good, but not so bad. The 0 to 60 is not so good, not so bad. The MRA is not so good, but not so bad. It's like the Europa League. But the handling is not so good, and it is bad. The handling on this thing is just abysmal. 85 for RQ57 is atrocious. If you have 77 handling, you need to have the 0 to 60 and the top speed to back it up, and the MRA. And when you think about it, it's slower to 60 than the Charger Daytona. It has worse MRA than the Charger Daytona, and it's a lower top speed than the Charger Daytona. So yeah, the Tipo Birdcage is a bit of a disappointment. It even has less handling than the Countach, for crying out loud. But yeah, once again, it's a decent car for the challenge, but outside of it, I wouldn't really keep it around, honestly. It's just an all-around car that won't really win you much. Moving on is the Alfa Romeo Alfetta. Now, this thing is like, I was pretty surprised when I was researching the MRAs, because this has like 72 MRA, which is actually okay for an off-road tire car. But once again, what is good MRA if you have no top speed? And it doesn't have top speed, so it's going to lose to the Metro, it's going to lose to the Nissan Silvia, it's going to lose to the Lancia 037. So I would say that the Alfa Romeo Alfetta GT is not a keeper outside of the challenge, so, you know, nothing too good. We already talked about the Walter Owen. The D8 Cosworth, not good. Not a good car. It is just a worse version of the Lotus Exige S1. And the Lotus Exige S1 is a worse version of a Lotus 340R. Not a great car. The DS Cosworth does have okay MRAs, 74, definitely better than the 340R, but then the 340R is lighter, it has more handling, and it has a lower 0 to 60. Actually, no, it doesn't have a lower 0 to 60. I think this does have a lower 0 to 60. It is 3.6. And the Lotus is 3.8. That being said, though, it's not going to be the 340R or anything twisty. It's not going to be the Exige S1 or anything twisty. To be completely honest with you, although it's the best Donkabord Ultra, it's not a very good car. I have one maxed, and I've never used it until in the shadows. That's how sad it is. Especially when you take into account it's the same RQ as the Exige S1. You're basically not going to be needing this at all after the challenge. Last but not least, or actually not last but not least, but the second last is the Chrysler Citadel. This is a keeper. It's even a Blossom choice because it's now the best standard tire Ultra on City Streets Small, the second best standard tire Ultra on City Streets Medium. It beats the CTS Coupe on Small, and it only loses to the CTS Coupe on the Medium, but once again, like I said, it's the best in something, and, you know, for that reason alone, it is Blossom choice. It's amazing. It's a really good car, the Citadel. Last but not least is the 030. This is also a Blossom choice. Needs no introduction. Everybody knows this. If you get 2, max 2. If you get 3, max 3. Blah, blah, blah. It's a car that needs no introduction. So overall, ultra rares, I would say in terms of keepers would be the Citadel, the 030. Charger Daytona if you're me, but in all honesty, the Charger 3 is better in every way, and the Lamborghini Countach is better in every way. So the purple Countach for the test pool. So, you know, that one's kind of, I'm on the fence with the Charger Daytona, and you can say that I'm kind of on the fence with the Tipo Birdcage, because that's kind of what that car is. It's just there. It's just mediocre. It's like not bad, but it's not good. But the fact that it can be good at anything makes it more bad than good, if that makes sense. But, you know, I can see an argument being made for the Birdcage to be a keeper, but really, I don't really stand for it. Really, the main cars that you want to focus on is the Citadel and the 030. Everything else is kind of just take it or leave it. You confuse it. Moving on to Epics now. Now, the Epic pool, you can only get 5, but they're actually all kind of decent besides the Fiat. The Fiat X19 Dallara. Now, it has an MRA of 83.23. It's just a slightly better version of the Donkabord. When you think about it, same 0 to 60, same top speed. The Fiat has 10 more MRA and 3 more handling. That's it. And slick tires, but slick tires, who cares? Yeah, the Fiat's just not that good. It's just not that great. It's not worth maxing out. It's not worth putting in 15 Ultras for. So honestly, I wouldn't be happy getting the Fiat, although, you know, I did get it, so I'm not very happy to own one. But moving on to the next 4 now, these ones are actually pretty decent. The SMR DBS, it goes to 3494. Now, what makes the DBS so good is that it's a great bang for your RQ. It has great stats for an RQ67 car. It hits 3494. when you max it out. When you put into comparison, my Viper ACR is also 3494, and that's RQ 72. That is 5 RQ more for what essentially is the same stats. The main reason is because the ACR has MRA. The DBS doesn't have amazing MRA, but it's not horrible per se, because it does have an MRA of, I didn't write it down. I think it's in the 70s. It's not like absolute trash, but it's not going to win you any 1 miles either. But it will win you a 1 mile against the Lotus Exige Guru for sure, because at least the Ascent has MRA. Not MRA, but top speed. Now let's talk about the Lotus Exige Guru. It's an incredibly light car. It has amazing handling, low 0 to 60, and it has an MRA of, once again, I didn't write it down. I wrote down notes for the M4S and the C8. And that honestly means that if I didn't write down the MRAs for these two cars, it means that they're not amazing. But I also know that they're not bad, because none of them were under 60. None of them were in the 60 range. They were all like at least low 70 to high 90, right? And talking about high 90, the Dodge M4S. Amazing machine. Once again, it's 3495. As you can see, the stats are very, very similar. 414 to the Aston Martin DBS, right? 4141, 8685. But look at that MRA difference. Not MRA difference, sorry. Look at the 0 to 60 difference. I can't speak today. Look at the RQ difference of 67 to 75. That is like an 8 RQ difference, my mans. Like, literally just because the M4S has 20 more MRA, I don't think that justifies 8 RQ difference. That's why I'm saying the DBS is a great bang for your RQ. You know, it's a great RQ saver. M4S is good though, right? It has 97.62 MRA, and it's light. It is about 500 kg, half a ton lighter than the DBS Carbon Black. I don't know why I'm comparing it to the Carbon Black so much, but the M4S is definitely a keeper. High top speed as well. So once again, you know, MRA and high top speed and 0 to 60, they all need to go well together for the car to work. And in this case, it does. It has the MRA, it has the top speed, and the 0 to 60, although it's quite weak, it is a car that I can definitely see 332 if I had a second one. The first one I'll definitely 233. Last but not least is the C8 Preleator. 201 top speed, 3.50 to 60, 87 handling, and an MRA of 83, not 83, 84.34. All around, it's just a bit of an all-rounder car. It has a high top speed, decent MRA, decent handling, and a really good 0 to 60 actually. It has lower 0 to 60 than the wide body. Even the wide body is 3.6. So the 0 to 60 is good. The MRA isn't the best, but it's not bad. The handling is okay, but when you think about it, there are a lot of other epics that hit 88, 89. I mean, for one example, the Skura. So that's why at the end of the day, this is a bit of an all-rounder car. And you know me, I don't like all-rounder cars per se, but this one at least it kind of has all-rounder stats. Which are actually good, not all-round stats that are mediocre. These are all-round stats that are actually pretty good. So yes, I would say that this is definitely a keeper. So when it comes to the epics, in my personal opinion, I would say 4 out of 5 are keepers, which is actually a pretty good track record. The Skura, the DBS, the M4S, and the Preleator are all cars that I would keep in the long run. And like I said, the DBS Carbon Black, I've actually used this quite a lot of times in clubs and multiplayer events. So I do get a use out of mine, and I did max it out. Last but not least, legendaries need no introduction. Keep them both, have them both. They both have MRAs in the 90s. The CCXR 94.59 and the Gumpert N 96.09. They're both amazing. You can keep them. I mean, I wouldn't see why you would ever fuse them away or sell them unless your name is Leo. So that is it. Once again, I have to say the pack is actually okay. If you get yourself an Epic or above, you are guaranteed a decent car, a good investment for outside of the In the Shadows challenge. The only one that I would be disappointed about with would be the Fiat X19, but everything else is actually not bad. The ultra rares, the Citadel and the 030 are some really great ultra rares to keep. The Tipo and the Charger are debatable, but everything else is kind of just I would say the D8 Cosworth is debatable, but once again, like I said, it's just a worse version of the Exige S1. All the other ultra rares are trash. The super rares are very, very weak. I personally wouldn't keep any of them besides the Abarth, but like I said, I'm also keeping all the American Frontier ones, but that's just me. You know, I'm talking for you guys right now, giving you the best information that I can, you know, I guess, think of. If I were you, I wouldn't keep any of these unless you hold any sentimental values to any of the super rares like I do. But with that said, that is the pack. That is the In the Shadows carbon fiber. So, am I going to open it? Well, I've already opened one. You've seen that because I've already posted the video on YouTube, and I got myself the Tipo. So it was kind of just like, eh. But I feel like I might open one again. We'll see how it goes. It's not a bad pack. It's definitely better than the Christmas collection and the challenge, the special challenge that was before that, the one of all the Cleos and all that. Like that was painful for me. It's not a bad pack. It's definitely not a bad pack. Like I said, if you get yourself something epic or above, you can get a card that you can invest in for the long run. So should you open it? Yeah, I would say go for it. If you have the gold lying around, I would say these offers aren't too bad. The pack is not too bad, and even if you get the special, you get yourself 20k cash and 10 slots for free. So it's not a bad deal, to say the least. I have to say though, the ceramic pack is kind of ironic because they put the wrong Aston Martin on it. But you know, once again, it's Hutch. Will we expect anything better? Not really. But yeah, that's gonna be it. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this episode of what you can get from that pack. I have to say, we are ending this on a pretty positive note. Most of the episodes in the series don't usually end that way because most of the packs that they release are kind of trash. But this one's actually decent. But if you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. Or if you agree, let me know down in the comments below as well. But that's all I gotta say for this video. Remember, stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.